Welcome to Hater Proof for self-improvement and good listening parts. Remember to stay hater proof and stay tuned. If you're a hater, exit immediately. This episode is about royalty. They're going to hate this one. Like the chess game of life, you have to start with your pawns, usually. The goal is to protect the king. Either way, it's the wits of opposing kingdoms. You have to be two steps ahead of your opposer. But being royalty is more than just a chess game. It's a timeless position of authority, and you have to take your stand. This is a trait not everyone has, but can learn from. Royalty is nothing to shake a stick at. No, you must respect it. Currents in the headlines. This is Currents in the Headlines overview. The TSA has unveiled a new self-service screening system at a security checkpoint at Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. Russian state-backed hackers gained access to some of Microsoft's core systems in a hack first disclosed in January, then revealing a more extensive and serious intrusion into Microsoft systems than they previously had known. President Joe Biden and Donald Trump kicked off the sequel to their 2020 contest in earnest with competing rallies and what could be a decisive state this November. Trump posted a $91.63 million bond as he appeals a judgment against him in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case. During the appeal, Carroll will not collect the $83.3 million awarded to her by a federal jury. Biden signed a package of 6 government funding bills into law a day after lawmakers raced to fund critical government departments and agencies through the remainder of the fiscal year. Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, was found guilty of drug trafficking by an American jury after a 2-week trial in Manhattan. He was accused of conspiring with drug cartels to move more than 400 tons of cocaine toward the United States. Monday was the first day of fasting, the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which ends at sundown on April 9th. March 11th is the day that online sports betting goes live in North Carolina, just in time for the NCAA's March Madness men's and women's college basketball tournaments. North Carolina is home to UNC, Duke, and NC State, which together have won a combined 13 national titles. The IRS will fully open its free tax filing program, Direct File, to eligible tax filers in 12 pilot states: Arizona, California, Florida, Massachusetts, Nevada, New Hampshire, New York, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. Elon Musk is hoping to make a third attempt at launching his massive Starship rocket. The first 2 attempts failed to reach orbit after what SpaceX called a rapid unscheduled disassembly, which means the rockets exploded mid-flight in spectacular fashion. Voters in the North Mariana Islands, a U.S. territory in the Pacific some 3,700 miles west of Hawaii, select a candidate in the Republican presidential caucuses. March 15th is the Ides of March, which, Shakespearean, is when Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of Roman senators. It's the 96th Academy Awards air live, the new time of 7 p.m. Eastern, on ABC, with Jimmy Kimmel returning to host the event for a 4th time. Leading with 13 nominations, the historical drama Oppenheimer is widely seen as the favorite to win Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director. Grey's Anatomy, primetime TV's longest-running medical drama, begins its 20th season on Thursday at 9 p.m. on ABC. Here's a good one that I like. Justice Smith and David Alan Grier star in The American Society of Magical Negroes, a comedy about a young man who is recruited into a secret society of magical black people who dedicate their lives to a cause of the utmost importance: making white people's lives easier. That should be fun to watch. Arthur the King stars Mark Wahlberg as an adventure racer who adopts a stray dog to join him in an epic endurance race. BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California, but without Rafael Nadal. The 22-time Grand Slam winner has been plagued by injuries and withdrew the night before the first round, saying on X that he didn't feel prepared enough to compete at the highest level. The women's and men's finals are scheduled for March 17th. College basketball's big dance is right around the corner. That means we have a week loaded with conference championships leading up to Selection Sunday 1 week from today. Administration headline. Okay, why not? This is from the Biden administration. The Biden-Harris administration takes action to protect communities from dangers of ethylene oxide pollution and secure America's supply chain. The Biden-Harris administration launches the White House Challenge to save lives from overdose. Biden announces over $3 billion to reconnect communities that have been left behind and divided by transportation infrastructure. On Equal Pay Day, the Biden-Harris administration announces actions to continue advancing pay equity and women's economic security. Financial headlines. As cryptocurrency builds, Bitcoin is up 2.9% at $73,012.99 as of 7 o'clock this morning. The U.S. dollar declines. As cryptocurrency builds, the U.S. dollar declines. This means that any wealth outside of cryptocurrency means nothing. The U.S. debt is snowballing. I've heard many times in the recent past that the debt has to be handled, and it doesn't seem to ring a bell to those that can do something about it. Bitcoin's up is creating about 200 millionaires daily. I know they're happy, but what about the US dollar? The outlook for Bitcoin in 2024 is set to continue trending up due to the influx of institutional participation. Bitcoin was close to what it was now back in November 2021. If you're a stock market watcher, this is what you should be watching over the next few months because the economy seems to be looking down on the US dollar while the world is becoming more digital. Arts and entertainment headlines. Olivia Munn shares she was diagnosed with breast cancer shortly after her quote-unquote normal mammogram. Ryan Gosling and Kristen Wiig set to host April episodes of Saturday Night Live. Christy Brinkley is diagnosed with skin cancer. Dua Lipa, Coldplay, and SZA to headline 2024 Glastonbury Festival. South by Southwest continues on until March 16th in Austin, Texas. Zoe Kravitz honored her dad, Lenny Kravitz, at his Walk of Fame ceremony. Ryan Gosling rocked the Oscars stage with the kinergetic I'm Just Ken performance. Health and wellness headline. Women with depression may have a higher risk of heart disease. FDA approves Wegovy weight loss drug to reduce heart attack risk. Chicago measles outbreak grows after more cases confirmed at migrant shelter. FDA to allow companies to claim yogurt can cut diabetes risk. Having sleep apnea tied to 50% increased risk for memory issues. Caffeine may help prevent weight gain and reduce risk of joint diseases. CDC tells physicians to conserve tetanus shots and warns of upcoming shortage. The tropical disease that's suddenly everywhere, dengue. Nonprofit headlines. After a Washington state lawsuit, Providence Health System erases or refunds $158 million in medical bills. Texas Attorney General targets Catholic migrant shelter alleging human smuggling back in February, but parallels the immigration issues the U.S. is facing right now. Community-based entrepreneurs are leading the way in solving the local news crisis. Hometown associations help immigrants support their communities in the U.S. and back in their homelands. Mexican groups are the most common, but those from Turkey, Bolivia, and many more countries have formed their own. NRA loses New York corruption trial over squandered funds, and retired longtime leader Wayne LaPierre must repay millions of dollars. Alternative headlines. TikTok could avoid a ban with a sale, but finding a buyer won't be easy. Former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin is among those lining up to buy TikTok if Congress enacts a law that forces its Chinese owner to sell. The Chinese government has expressed opposition to the bill that could force a sale of TikTok and would have to approve any divestiture plan. Why does everyone swear all the time? Cuss words are in the middle of a big shift right now. Who is the British royal family willing to protect? The royal family theoretically has a sophisticated apparatus in place to manage their reputations and the reputation of the throne. But they have seemed to mess up an attempt to protect Kate and her privacy, and it has raised questions about who they are willing to protect and whom do they throw to the wolves. China is losing the microchip war. Menstrual fluids underexplored medical treasures. This one's a bit gross, but it's alternative and it's interesting enough that I will be listening to the podcast. It is found to maybe help disease diagnosis and wound healing. It's now being seen as treasure and not trash. Saturn's return. This occurs when Saturn returns to the same part of the same sign it was in your birth chart, usually around age 30. Your first Saturn return is about development and maturity. This is an astrological phenomenon name-checked in new songs from Ariana Grande, Casey Musgraves, and SZA. You should use a Saturn return calculator and find out your Saturn return date. Upcoming holidays. Today is Pi Day and Scientist Day. St. Patrick's Day is March 17th, 2024. Remember to wear green. Fast of Esther is March 21st. Purim Eve is March 23rd. Purim Tel Aviv is March 24th. Palm Sunday is March 24th. Holi is March 25th. And also Shushan Purim in Jerusalem is on March 25th. Word up. Random word today is continental, meaning forming or belonging to a continent. Here it is in a sentence. The US of A once had continental currency. Conspiracy or no? The Super Bowl is rigged. After the Chiefs win, which they also won a few years ago, people are saying the Super Bowl is rigged. I don't know, but it sure is fun to watch. There's so much production and marketing involved, though, in this American pastime. I wonder, though, is it fact or opinion? I read the Bible a few times front to back and realized that I didn't want to know. I mean, maybe ignorance is bliss. Solid. This episode, Solid, goes to the women who made history. They not only made history, but made history, if you know what I mean. Women have made leaps and bounds that most men have, and have done it after giving birth, and sometimes while giving birth. And let's not forget that time of the month. Yes, it hurts. I personally don't know which is worse, childbirth or that time of the month, as we call it. But anyway, solid to the women who made and are making history. My 2 cents. Royalty is a respectable position. It isn't for everyone. Number 2, you may be royal by blood. And if so, stand on that. BBW. On this week's episode of Being Black and Winning, we have the NAACP, specifically their youth programs, AXO, Next Gen, and the 25,000 fighting for civil rights with the NAACP. Bird speaks. Being on this platform, I got a shot form. It's not form, it's form. It's not form. It can get cold. It can get colder. You can lean on my shoulder. Rest in peace. You dirty beast. Kick rocks. You dirty thoughts. That's all I got. Hershey speaks. There's some missing kisses around here somewhere. I hope you find them soon. Here's this week's clue. It's in this episode, but you won't get it if you don't listen. Ending the episode on a high note. If you're going to love someone, love them also when they're not lovable, because that's when they need it the most. This is the end, my friend. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this show. Be good, be encouraged, and always, always party responsibly. Thanks again. Listen again, and stay hated proof. Till the next episode. To the next episode.